mean, Mac's favorite room is by the door. Apparently, he just wanted to let everyone know. I mean, podcast room. I feel like I kind of have to say it's been a lot of fun to build out with the acoustic panels, and then once we got Adam in here, he really like organized everything and has it like super set up, and it just feels like one of the most like polished rooms in here. But other than that, I've somehow eventually convinced Marquez if I bought all matte black coffee stuff, he would let me have a coffee setup in here. So
let's go.
The kitchen's coffee setup right now is like super legit, and it's really nice to not have to like take 10 minutes at home to make coffee. I can just wait till I get into work and make like a really killer cup. So that's probably my favorite.
I do want to say like the podcast room is so amazing because like Adam and I go in there to do interviews and stuff, and it's so cool that it's just like so meticulously quiet in there. And if we're playing like smooth jazz music and talking into the podcast mics as we sometimes do, we really feel like radio hosts, which has always been a dream of mine. So I love it.
Nice.
Can we do like a radio host spoof at some point? Just like, welcome back to MKB, or like, you know, like how every radio station has like the four.
We definitely have some recordings somewhere of us doing that. We've definitely yeah, we definitely have done that before. We'll send it in Slack later. Cool. Thanks for the question.
All right, yeah, thank you guys for the answers. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. All right, I've got another one. We're also probably going to end this around 12 o'clock, so I'm thinking maybe one or two more questions.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. All right. Oh, Wizcraft is not here anymore. Gonna ask that. Let me see if I can find another one. Vamsy, are you here?
Also, while we're waiting, I just want to say we just hit 169,000 subscribers on the channel, which is very nice.
Yeah.
So good job, everyone.
Nice.
Yo, all I'm saying is I guessed 200K in 24 hours, and we still have like 7 or 8 hours
got
to
a lot
go.
of
I
hours,
think we could totally do it. I think we could totally do it.
I asked in the end of the video if we could get 100,000 in a week. I realize now I should have shot a little higher there.
Linus did 1 million in a day with 0 videos one time on one of his new channels, so I feel like we could do 1 million in a week, maybe.
To the moon, guys. To the moon.
All right, Ivan. Oh, there we go. Vamsy's in
Hi,
here.
guys.
Hey.
Yo.
Yeah, so Marcus mentioned earlier, like a couple of years back, I remember when he said that you guys only work on one video at a time. So you finish the video, upload it, and then move on to the next. So now that you have a full-fledged team that everyone has their own roles, do you still work on one video at a time, or are you able to do multiple at a time, and are you able to manage that?
That's a really good question. So basically we still mostly work on one video at a time, but there are sometimes, I say that's technically still true because I consider working on a video like the actual production part. But right now we're probably working on like 5 videos at once, but they are super, super early in the process. Like one of them will be in the planning stage and one of them will be a review where I just got the thing we're reviewing. So I technically haven't started working on the video yet, but you know, I've started working on the thing. So I still feel like our production process doesn't overlap much. We still produce one video at a time. It's very rare where we'll shoot 2 or 3 different things at once, but we have started to open that up a little bit, and I feel like with some of the longer term projects we will do that more over the course of the year. So that's a good question.
I feel like there's also like a bit of overlap now that Adam's producing the waveform channels, I'm producing the studio channel. Like we're kind of working on multiple videos at once in that regard too.
That is super true. I almost forgot that we're like, yes, there's multiple channels now instead of one channel. So As far as just MKBHD videos, yeah, it would be 1 or 2 at a time, usually in parallel. But with multiple channels, they are in series all the time. Yeah, the podcast is always happening every week, and now the studio channel is going to be happening all the time. So, yeah, consider our output multiplied.
It's funny because we always like internally we call the studio channel the second channel, but it's really like there's 4 channels when you count waveform and the waveform clips channels. It's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for the question, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right. I have one that I don't believe the person's here anymore, but I think I'm just going to read it out loud because it was a great question. And I think I want to hear a little more from Tim and Michael. But it said, who makes the intros and how are they made from scratch? So I think since we're talking about the studio here, it'd be really cool to hear kind of the quick backstory of how the new studio graphics and intro got made because everyone loved them and we all are obsessed with them in the studio.
Yeah, I'll start and then hand it off to Michael. So when I got here, I'll try to keep it quick. When I got here, basically they had the name of the studio, and I think it went through a bunch of different names before I got here. And Brandon, who's in here as well, one of our video cinematographers, had like a mood board that was very helpful for me as like a starting point. And then from there, it was like, trying to figure out how we could be very different from the main channel. And I think I probably went through like maybe 20 to 30 logos. And then I pitched 3 to the team that were one was very techy, one was the one that you guys see now, and then another was I actually can't remember. But it took about a month to develop the entire logo, and then after that, I think we had the banner that you guys see on YouTube and Twitter was like the first kind of key art piece that I made to show the team to kind of sell them on how this brand could have a voice and like be expansive and open and creative for like we could make collages with the top down set, we could make them in Photoshop. It just had it was kind of like, opening a door to a new world that was just so expansive and had so many opportunities. So it was really fun for everyone to kind of get in and see what we could do with it. And then from there, it was a matter of developing the animation. So I talked to Michael, and I'll let him talk about how he came up with the animations. But basically, what I did for my end was we had a short discussion of, okay, like, should I make some individual assets? And he was like, just make as many of those key art pieces as you can, and we'll go from there. So I think I made 6 more pieces of key art, and I have like different pictures of things around the studio and different team members and just collages of like what these things could be and what works, what's too loud or what's too busy. And then that ultimately led to him coming up with how things could move in the composition. So um, I think that I'll say the last thing really quick. The reason that we have the logo on the top is we like the idea of right now we have 9 people, and we like that idea as like a grid, as like a Rubik's cube, where it's like 9 units of a team. So the whole logo was developed around like a 9, and then like 9 dots essentially, and then some would kind of morph together to make more like an S. And then the word mark was developed and handmade by me using Bodoni as like a ground base font. And then I just crafted it to kind of be more of our own. But I'll hand it off to Michael on how he came up with the animation.
Yeah, for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I was making still graphics and then also animating them. So I'm really hyped that we have Tim on the team now because him and I actually went to college together, so we're really good at working together and collaborating in general. But it is such a relief to not be in charge of making the graphics and then also making the move, because I feel like that ended up limiting me on a lot of stuff. So it's cool to see Tim be able to spend a lot of time developing the artwork to be something way better than what I would have ended up having time to do, or also just being able to bounce ideas between each other. Like we both study graphic design, so while he specializes in still graphics, like I can also give good input, which is awesome. And then same with him being able to give input on my animation stuff. So yeah, he handed over like probably 8 or 9 different stills of just different ideas of how the visuals could work, which was pretty inspiring to me. And so I was able to be like, okay, I'll take this. I feel like the theme of our design relationship is that like he'll do a thing that works really well, and then I'll just like push it just one notch further. I think the one notch further that I pushed this one was just like exploding the colors to be pretty ridiculous. But yeah, so I'll take his graphics and I'll separate them all out in After Effects and make them move. Is the gist of it.
That was an extremely modest answer on how you animated such a like genius piece of an intro, when in reality it's like so many more complex working parts and like more than I could have imagined for a motion piece.
Step 1, make 300 layers. Step 2.
Make a move.
Like with Tim and Michael both, when you guys did like your presentations for the team to show us the designs you had made, I definitely remember there were a few moments when like all of us just kind of like loudly exclaimed and yelled over certain designs that I think ended up being the final ones that we're using now.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
they hit
You
different.
guys are a fun group to present to.
Yeah, I think option 1 and 2, you guys are like, cool, and there was like positive feedback, and then 3 came in and I caveated with like, this is gonna be very uncomfortable and like really different from what you guys are used to. Just a heads up. And then I pulled up the key art, which is the YouTube banner now and the Twitter banner, and you guys were like, whoa, like unanimously. It was awesome.
Amazing. I got a couple minutes left. I feel like we can do a little rapid fire because there's a bunch more like really interesting questions in the stage questions section. So I feel like if you guys all just want to like hop in and maybe pop a question and answer it real quick if you like it, I'm gonna find a couple good ones and then we can wrap up. But
Yeah,
I
do you
think there's
want to
some good ones.
we'll just read it out loud instead of taking the time to bring everyone up on stage?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good. I just want, so somebody asked, Multiverse said, which part of the studio was the hardest to set up? I'm going to say that the middle part was the hardest to make shootable. Each one of the smaller rooms was the easiest to soundproof, but as far as setting something up, the biggest space is the hardest to set up.
Now you have me looking for questions.
Yeah.
I did have one. It's a little outside the studio, but it's for everyone in the studio. Their name is just binary, so I'm not going to even attempt to say it out loud. Do any of you guys in the studio use non-mainstream true wireless earbuds? And can we expect to see any reviews of them? I personally use the Jaybird Vistas, and I'm in love with them. And they just fit my ears really well. I've mentioned on the podcast a bunch of times I have a real issue with some truly wireless earbuds just not fitting in my ears, but I love using them when I'm climbing or solo hiking. But I'll let other people answer. But I do think with the studio channel, you can expect some of us to have maybe like a mini review of things or just our takes on a lot of different items, since a lot of us do a bunch of things. Like I, for one, do a lot of game stuff. David does a lot of film cameras. Hayato does a lot of musical things. So you'll be able to see on this channel some of us giving our opinions on some other products that might not make a full video on the main channel.
Somebody asked,
I'm
is
using
there
the
any...
Nothing Ear 2s, which will come out next year.
Oh,
Just kidding.
snap. Shouldn't that be
Okay.
an embargo
Go-
box?
Oh, probably. Sheesh. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
People at the hospital can't all be seeing those unreleased earbuds, man.
Hey man, nobody will know what they are. It's okay.
Sick. Somebody asked, is there a room that Mac isn't allowed to go into?
I've never seen him in the bathroom.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
actually
think he knows how to use it.
My cat follows me in the bathroom all the time. I would not be surprised if Mac did the same thing.
He doesn't go in the gear room too much, which is probably for the best. I could just see him getting tangled in all the battery wires. underneath, and just everything's way too expensive in there for him to go. He's surprisingly though is allowed in the podcast room, and it's probably where he's the quietest. So, fun fact.
It's the door furthest from the UPS guy, usually.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've been seeing a few questions about like cameras that we use and all that, and we'll talk about cameras plenty on the channel, but I do want to give like a shout out to the Sony A1 that we used for the studio tour, because several people have been asking about the stabilization, like what did we use? Is it a gimbal? Is it this and this? And that video is entirely handheld. And the Sony A1 just kills it. This in-body stabilization is crazy good. We didn't have to do any stabilization in post. There was no extra hardware. Like, that was entirely hand shot. So that's shout out to Sony.
Hey Otto is the gimbal. He's a human gimbal.
I am the
And that was
gimbal.
after 3 weeks too. So like, good on you.
Oh, my arms were sore.
I saw a question. Solo asked, "Do we have any like friendly competitions amongst ourselves in the studio?" And yeah, we have a bunch. Like, basically for every video, we have a competition where we guess what the final time is going to be, and whoever gets the closest wins absolutely nothing. Every morning, Marquez and Andrew play a game of pool, and they keep track of like who's winning throughout the week. There's like a bunch of little things like that.
We did we have a mini basketball net, and we had almost a whole day. It felt like, I think it started at lunch to see who could make a basket the furthest away, and we started tracking it with a piece of tape. I think Marquez holds the record right now. It's got to be like almost 50 feet away from the basketball hoop.
You're damn right, I do.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. You got on like your
Marquez
second
is just
try
like-
too.
Marquez is just frustratingly good at everything.
If you get far enough away, you have to really line drive the ball, otherwise you'll hit the lights. That's how far away it is.
Yeah,
We
the
also
pool
occasionally
match.
have like. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You're in a hospital.
Oh, are you muted? No. Okay. Anyway, so no, we occasionally do also like exercise competitions, because being in a studio all day, you're not moving that much. Annoyingly, the Apple Watch does not let you do group competitions, which makes no
God.
sense.
David,
Sorry.
someone's like dying next to you.
Are you about to explode?
Oh my god.
This is definitely not HIPAA like approved.
Hey, the more you say that, the more they'll catch on. Okay. But we do Apple Watch competitions, but it's annoying because like individually, you just have to individually invite each other. And if anyone in the audience works at Apple, you should probably enable group competitions. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself now. Anyway.
I second that. I second group competitions built into the watch. What else? There's a couple probably last few questions.
I saw one really quick that autofocus. Has any one of you witnessed fans trespassing into the studio? Marquez probably has been here longer, so he knows, but I'll say, like, I've gone to the kitchen, which is where we park our cars, and every now and then I'll walk back and people are just standing outside of Marquez's car and taking selfies with it. Or like the one day we all went as a team to go rock climbing, and we came out to our cars and there were 3 guys standing in front of David's Tesla Model 3. And they were taking pictures, and he just quietly got in the car and pulled away while they were still standing there. So that's probably it. Like, Marquez probably has way more weird stories.
No, it's actually not too bad. We have obviously security here, so my advice would be don't come to the studio. It's not like a tourist attraction or anything like that. But we do try to give you guys the best insight into what it is like in the studio through the studio channel. So you'll never have to actually drive out here into some random city you've never been to. So that's our
Driving out here, not fun, by the way. So
It's
Yeah,
not a fun
absolutely.
drive at all.
not good drive.
That
so
being
many
said,
potholes.
if you see any of us out in the wild, we're very, very happy to say hi to anybody. Like, we love meeting people, especially like CES feels like half of that is just meeting everybody, and super, super fun. It's just when it comes to the studio, it's like we're here, we're working, and if somebody comes, it's just interrupting that, and there's security measures in the whole building. We're not the only people in the building, so it turns into a whole big thing. So outside the studio, love to meet everybody. Inside the studio, that's our private space.
Yeah, it makes sense because like me and David met this guy once who works like in this building, and they're like a freaking U.S. defense contractor or something. So like the security's pretty real.
Yeah. Also, if you ever want to come see me or say hi, this whole summer we're playing Ultimate Frisbee games for the AUDL up and down the east coast of the U.S. New York, Philly next weekend. This weekend we're in Tampa Bay, Florida, Atlanta, DC. So if you ever want to check out the schedule, just look up New York Empire, and I'll happily say hi and sign stuff after the game.
Can confirm it's a really good time. I don't know anything about Ultimate Frisbee, but we had a great time going to the first game of the season.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
And soon we'll paint
So mad that I haven't
MKBHD
gone
on
yet.
our chest, and it'll be amazing.
Sick. All right. Well, I think that's a pretty good amount of stuff we've talked through. I mean, it's been like an hour. I'm gonna keep hanging out in the Discord after this. Obviously, there's a bunch more channels, and we can hang out in general. You guys know I lurk all the time, but this has been a fun little studio stage. Thanks for everybody for hopping in and all going to different rooms and answering and asking questions. Appreciate everybody.
Yep. Thanks everyone for listening. I could definitely see us. I mean, we're definitely going to do this again. I mean, maybe even some days if we're ever here. If Hayato gets another processing time like he did yesterday for the studio, maybe a couple of us will just start a random stage event and answer some questions if we have to sit late here. But yeah, we'll do it again. Thanks for all the questions. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them, but they were all great.
And on
Thanks,
that
y'all.
note, signing off.
All right, bye everyone.
Later.
Later, everyone. Everyone follow the rules on Discord, so I don't have to ban anyone.
Yeah.
You're funny.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Brutal.
calm down, Dad.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
I'll probably see you
Thanks.
guys tomorrow.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay. Bye.
David, feel better.
Bye. Yeah, feel better. Everyone wish David feel better, and
Tweet at
I'll allow everyone to ping him on Discord. I'm like yelling.
Oh my gosh.
David, I
Sorry.
will command you to feel better. Do it. Just
Ooh,
do it, man.
shit.
Man, just do it.
Okay.
Put the doctor
One
on
of
the
the
stage.
Yeah, put him on call. Let me talk.
Yeah, if they ever visit me, it's been 3 hours. All right. See you guys.
Later, everyone.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.